Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
A very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Kizito. On Spectrum tonight, MPs institute impeachment proceedings against the president. How serious are these legislators and what reasons are they advancing? Under Article 107 of the 1995 Constitution, it is envisaged that a sitting Ugandan president can be removed from office through a parliamentary process known as impeachment. This article indicates that the president can be removed for 1A, abuse of office or willful violation of the oath of allegiance and the presidential oath or any provision of this constitution. B, for misconduct or misbehavior that he has conducted himself or herself in a manner that is likely to bring the office of the president into hatred, ridicule, contempt or disrepute, or that he or she has dishonestly done any act or omission which is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of Uganda. C, for physical or mental incapacity that renders him incapable of performing the functions of the office by reason of physical or mental incapacity. 2 months ago, Lubaga South MP John Ken Luchamzi and Aru County MP Samuel Odonga-Oto announced plans to impeach President Museveni, implicating him in severe errors that they claim have resulted into great loss for this country. Today, they published 6 grounds to justify their plans and also commenced the collection of the initial required signatures from 125 members or 1/3 of the House to support a motion that they intend to table in the House. The two, who have now been joined by other colleagues, are hoping that the bipartisan spirit exhibited recently in the fight against corruption will help them carry forward their cause. Our guests tonight, Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire from the NRM, also Member of Parliament from Buyaga West. You're most welcome, Hon Tinkasiimire.
Our listeners, good evening to you.
We're also joined by Hon Bernard Atiku, Member of Parliament for Ayivu County in the West Nile. He's a member of the impeachment group. You're most welcome, Hon Atiku.
Good evening, listener.
We expect to be joined by Hon David Bahati, Vice Chairman of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus. Hon Tinkasiimire, is it practical to try and remove the president at this time?
For good, I think this is another political engagement. You know very well that we had a campaign, a political campaign, where the opposition could not host President Museveni and his party, the NRM. So I think they can use a few things here and there to get at him, but I am afraid as far as the process is concerned, I'm sure they will not even collect the required signatures, because you know your number. The opposition, how many are you? Honorable Atiku. Our listeners currently, since you have already started collecting signatures, would be interested in knowing how many you have actually collected. But nevertheless, the grounds themselves, you are talking of domestic debt. Which country on earth does not have debts? Even US, where we are begging from, they have debts. You are talking of unemployment. Where on earth you don't find unemployment? Only that you must ask yourself, what has our president done? For sure, it is on record that it is during the time of President Museveni that many people have found employment, because he has advocated for industrialization. He has opened up the economy, and many industries are up. Even as we talk, the private sector, like these radios, they were never there before he came into power. You can see our hosts have jobs. I believe, my good colleague, you are paid at the end of the month. You go home when you are, even if you are not very comfortable, but you are paid something. This is courtesy of our good president. Then you raise up and start saying, actually, this is a political smear. If it is a political smear, we shall engage. Then you are talking about contempt of parliament. This crime has never existed, according to me, according to the laws of Uganda. Contempt of parliament, you can only have contempt of court. This crime does not exist. And our constitution is very, very clear that nobody in this country can be charged of a crime which does not exist. You are talking of unfulfilled pledges. For God's sake, even let us have an interface at family level. Even a man himself, to manage his home properly, he will tell the children that I will buy you this, I will bring this. He will tell his wife that on Christmas we will go here. Sometimes he may not fulfill everything, but at least he will do something for sure. Very many things that the president has said has tried to fulfill them, and we are asking him, even the unfulfilled pledges, to fulfill them. So I am seeing then the other issue they are raising is about sectarianism. What are you talking about, this sectarianism? I heard the other day the former vice president was saying that the president favors very much the Westerners.
Which party does it belong to?
The Westerners. Really, I would totally disagree with him, because if you look at in the West, who has ever been a vice president? There is nobody who has ever been a vice president. And when you look at the people holding these jobs, Hiraroneki, this Moses Ali, the general, Alupo, all those people, are they really? Don't just incite. Actually, we could ask Kayura to swing in action against you for inciting sectarianism against the person of the president.
All right.
I don't think that, and I am sure that this impeachment process is going to collapse on the eyes of the movers.
Honorable Atiku, let's review the reasons advanced in your petition.
First and foremost, I want to thank you and the listener out there that this is not an easy or simple thing that we have embarked on. We should not simplify it in the eyes of the public or in the ears of the public. And secondly, we are using the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as members of Parliament who took an oath to uphold this Constitution in its entirety, including the President whom we want to impeach, using the same Constitution. So I should put it clear, the method we are using is the most civilized in a democratic state, and therefore should not antagonize or confuse people, that people want to disorganize this country and bring disharmony. We are trying to use legal means, constitutional means, that is a practice the world over that this country has accepted to use. And as members of Parliament, or as a Parliament, as an institution, the third arm of government, we are using the powers within our mandate, not without doing research. As I'm going to present, I'll substantiate with evidence, with issues, with information that one can quote to justify our action. So I just wanted to remind the listener outside there, that you recall the day the members of Parliament were sworn in, the oath that they took. Remind yourself of the day the President was taking the oath of allegiance to uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda in Kololo, the words he said. And as we will be giving you this information, you relay them according to what will be coming down to you.
All right. The reasons.
The reasons are enormous, but we have outlined a few which we think are very prominent.
6 reasons.
Exactly. To begin with corruption. I think everybody is fed up of corruption. We are in Parliament, we have tried our best, and we think the President individually has facilitated patronage and acronism in the national resource allocation, all at the expense of all Ugandans who are presumed equal before the law. There's lack of political will in as far as fighting corruption, which has eaten the resources of this country. We are complaining. Yesterday, if you watched Parliament, Honorable Mukula the NRM vice president for Eastern region,
complaining about the
former minister, state minister for health,
yes,
complaining of mothers delivering and sleeping on the floor
in his own constituency,
mothers mingling with the blood on the floor of hospitals, and yet we are hearing of corruption, over 169 billion being, swindled under the nose of the president. Who appoints the governor, Bank of Uganda, to oversee? Who appoints ministers? Minister of Finance, Saida Bumba, who recently resigned, was forced to resign.
You say former minister, because
former minister, yes.
He's no longer minister anymore.
The former minister, the honorable Kidu Makubuya, who resigned. And during their cross-examination, you remember very well, if you followed what Park was doing, they all pointed at the president. But here we are, the two have been relieved of their duties. Mutebile recently was saved by the NRM. Of course, I wouldn't say it was saved because the constitution is clear. It's still the mandate of the president.
Yes.
But before that matter came on the floor of parliament, how many caucuses took place?
Yes.
In
there was intense lobbying by the
exactly. by the fountain of honor. So what does that tell you? That tells us that the president actually is siding with the corrupt, and therefore gives us ground to impeach him.
Go on.
Secondly, the Basaja Balaba saga, actually, this is just to elucidate on the corruption saga, I mean the corruption implication.
Yes.
Basaja Balaba, it's not the first time. The 169 billion that is purportedly having been given to him has been featuring in almost all corruption scandals. He has been the beneficiary of all presidential awards. 20 billion to for KI, is it what? Kampala International University,
yes.
And what have you? Recently, the markets, the procedure for awarding the markets, and what have you? When we come to the oil saga, you had people who took bribes, allegedly. Actually, they are suspects because there's a parliamentary procedure in place where a committee was set to investigate this process. The right Mama Mbabazi, the Prime Minister, Hilary Onek, Kutesa. I think for Kutesa he took leave of his office.
Yes, he stepped aside.
And of course there was no need to pressurize him, but the two have been maintained in office by the president. Otherwise, once somebody is labeled a suspect, the president should have relieved actually the Prime Minister of his duties to allow free investigation.
Yes.
But this is not the case. He has maintained them in office. What is he doing? He's condoning corruption. When you come to the UBC saga, the Honorable Karakumba was caught with transmitters, equipment of UBC, which is a national corporation.
And she was sacked. She was
not
sacked.
sacked. She resigned under pressure.
Yes.
After resigning, we expect her to be before court, to have been arraigned before court. We have heard of people being arrested even before investigations are done. But has a lot of information. It was actually police which brought all this information. That means she's not supposed to be within the precincts of parliament. She's supposed to be in Luzira reporting or must have come out on bail and reporting to court every other 2 weeks or every month. But she's there with us in parliament, rubbing shoulders with the Tinkasiimires in caucuses and what have you, to save other thieves. Fourthly, when you come to the Chogam saga, Chogam was a very good meeting.
Yes.
But what transpired during Chogam? A lot of scandals. To date, none of the Chogam fellows is arraigned before court.
My idea. We have Honorable Sam Kutesa, who was the former Minister for Foreign Affairs. We have the former Chief Whip, Nasasira. We have Rukutana, a former Minister for Labour. All those ministers are
before court.
Fine. The maximum
in Chogam.
Go on.
Before the Chogam. We had a court acquitting the former Vice President. It is court that acquitted him.
Let's then we'll get back to them.
Secondly, economic flaws. You have seen how our economy, from the day the president was sworn in, how the economy has slumped down. Inflation has risen to the highest, 30%.
At some stage.
And to date, the prices have never come down. Fuel, for the first time we are seeing it at that price. Dollar rates went up. And today there are families that have reduced their meals to either 0 or to 1. And yet we have a country, we have a government, we have a president that must look into this. Debts. My brother Tinkasiimire was talking of the internal debts, but there's external debt. You remember recently, Uganda was forgiven some of the burden of foreign debts. It reduced to up to around $1 billion. But as we talk, you have gone to $4 billion within a period of 2 years.
Yes.
What is happening? Domestic debt has risen from less than 300 billion to over 2.14 billion trillion exactly.
Yes.
As we talk, as by 2009, and I think it might have even gone higher.
That's 7 times as much as it was.
Unemployment.
Yes.
The population of Uganda is standing at, if you see the youth are currently occupying 75% of Uganda's population, and the unemployment rate has risen to 83%. We have a government in place, a president who appoints ministers who preside over running the economy of this country. The industries my brother was talking, I don't know why they failed to absorb all the youths. Empty government promises. You said your father has always deceived you, but my father must keep. If in fact your father deceived you, but you yourself should never deceive your own children. When you don't have it, say I don't have it. When I have it, say I have it. Empty promises made in campaigns, wherever there's a function. I think that amounts to telling lies. Just this afternoon, Honorable Dr. Chris Bariomus raised an issue where the president went and promised the construction of a road. But to date, in fact, it was even planned for in the budget and what have you. Immediately it disappeared. Even a contractor was procured, but nothing came to be seen.
Yes.
In Arua, actual West Nile, we were promised 28 bridges. And
you have the rivers, don't you?
Exactly, the rivers are there. Recently, just last week, we lost over 23 people. 20 of them from my constituency, and 17 of them being women. Women, yes. Because a bridge that was constructed in 1952 gave way under the weight of a truck on which they are traveling. And these lives that have been lost, the 2-year-old child who died, who was drowned alive in that bridge, under that bridge, whom can we blame?
Go on.
We have a government in place, Honorable Tinkasiimire. These are issues in the health sector. I've just told you, go to Mulago here, the nearest. In your own constituency, go to your constituency and ask people whether when they go to hospitals they get the drugs. Whether when they fall sick they get ambulances for referrals. Whether there are no, semblance of, contempt of parliament that we are talking about, Honorable Tinkasiimire. When we received, when we debated the oil saga, you remember very well, you even signed for the recall of parliament. Okay?
Yes.
You signed for it, we all came back, we debated up to midnight and passed the resolution, parliamentary resolutions. And we said no oil business should be conducted until the proper laws are put in place. We all agreed. What happens? A month ago, the president calls the minister, say go and sign. Isn't that contempt of parliament? Isn't that unconstitutional? Really? For me, I think we have all the grounds. The issue of sectarianism, I will not expound on it.
Give us some more detail on that. So what do you
can say from the police, UPDF, prisons, and other positions of responsibility. As if we don't have people in other regions that can be generous, that can head these institutions. So these are issues which I think the public should stand with us in this endeavor, including Honorable Tinkasiimire and all NRM members. It's not a matter of party that this one is opposition. This is what we would like Uganda, where everybody benefits, a just Uganda as per the Constitution. Thank you.
Well, listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight, MPs institute impeachment proceedings against the president. How serious are these legislators and what reasons are they advancing? Our guests tonight, Hon Bernard Atiku, Ayivu County Member of Parliament, who also is a member of the impeachment group. and Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire from the NRM. He comes from Buyaga West County. You'll be able to contribute to this discussion. We're going for a break now. When we come back, you'll be able to contribute to this discussion by way of calling in and telling us what you think about this. When we come back from the break, we'll look at the practicality of this. Get a response from Honorable Tinkasiimire about. We're going for a break. We'll be back.
Open an ice-cold Nile Gold, but don't drink it just yet. Take a closer look. You'll see the rich golden color. Get closer still, and you can't miss the fresher aroma. But you'll also find something else. You won't see it, but you'll certainly taste it. The unmistakable, crisp, maltier taste that can only be crystal malt. It's what makes Nile Gold beyond the ordinary. And that really is the mystery of Nile Gold. Nile Gold Crystal Malt Lager, beyond the ordinary. Not for sale to persons under 18.
Promotion kutoka MTN. We send million shillings every day for 90 days. SMS win to 175.
Win, everybody. It is time to win lots of money. And all you have to do is Sukum SMS. Big up MTN for this promotion.
Chino Chifufu.
Win 10 million shillings every day for 90 days. Simply SMS WIN to 175 to play and win. MTN Sukuma SMS.
Terms and conditions apply.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. MPs institute impeachment proceedings against the president. How serious are these legislators and what reasons are they advancing? Our guests, Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire from Buyaga West, comes from the NRM party, and Hon Bernard Atiku from Ayivu County in the West Nile, also a member of the impeachment group. You'll be able to contribute to this discussion. Honorable Tinkasiimire, how practical are these grounds? We've listened to all of them very patiently.
I think on my part, because you invited me, I should not complain that you are very unfair to me for giving all this for all this space, airtime to this political comedian to talk. Really, these are political comedians.
Let's forget about the personality. Let's look at the substance. He's read out his ideas. The 6 grounds that were mentioned.
They have their right, but I have already declared them that this petition, impeachment petition, is going to collapse in their face, because it is President Museveni who has at least demonstrated that he is willing to fight corruption. He is quoted various examples. Thank you for quoting those examples. It is during President Museveni's government that we have seen at least ministers resigning, ministers not being reappointed.
Let's just get this.
High personalities being arraigned in court.
Please, you have just said that ministers have not been reappointed.
Yes.
The Honorable Sam Kutesa was censored, I think, in the 6th Parliament. Was he reappointed?
Well, don't use one example. Don't use one example. Resigned before, because if you have resigned and to the best of
the people who were
let us not use those small things. Let us
censored by Parliament having found him culpable.
Look at the crime they had charged of.
I mean, if you have a corrupt person, you condone it.
I gave you space to speak, Honorable Atiku.
Okay.
If you want an engagement, I am an expert in that because I did. I am an expert, and I would like to take you on.
Go on.
In that area.
Go on.
I listened to you attentively.
Go on.
And if you want a fair debate and to the benefit of our listeners,
let's go back to the nitty-gritty.
I am only informing you that it is only this NRM government led by President Museveni that has demonstrated that he can even bite very many people. He has called them to order.
Yes.
You have seen very many ministers. He has made them to resign. For him, even where there is a mistake, he raises it. You have just said the governor Bank of Uganda, because you have quoted him. He actually said the governor Bank of Uganda he had an oversight for paying out all that amounts of money by not actually consulting him. Secondly, not raising eyebrows.
So what does that mean?
Not raising eyebrows. In other words, he's even the smallest minute, regardless of the clean record this man has demonstrated, he was able to even observe those things, those two areas which are not provided under the law. Because it is not provided under the law that when the governor is actually dispensing his duties, he should consult the president. It is not written anywhere.
Yes.
It is not written anywhere that when the governor is paying out money, he should consult the president. He is used, that is his job. He is used to paying out big amounts of money, even trillions. To him, the 42 billion is change, pocket change.
169 billion.
Is pocket change according to him. If you want to raise it as an
$70 million is pocket change for the governor.
To him, that is his daily routine of handling money. How much money do you think he pays out to these other banks? This is his daily routine of handling money. If a client asks for the money, he just pays. And in this case, we are not here for that matter. We are here on the issue of impeachment, on areas of corruption. You have seen for Gold said,
yes,
even the closest people that he would defend, he has asked them to take leave. Honorable Kabakumba, he was the first one to say, if these things are like this, please you leave. Professor Kidu Makubuya, same for him being a politician, a professor, he's actually, in most of his arguments are mainly political. He even evades facts. He can bend the facts to win a political argument. But he said, well, you have protected me well, you have sharp brains of protecting me, but here you went wrong, I ask you to quit. Said Abumba. These are people who fought with the President Museveni in the bush. Sam Kutesa, he's I would say
a relative.
A relative. I understand Sam Kutesa produces a daughter who is married by the son of President Museveni. He has said, please, for God's sake, give space. Give space to my government. Honorable Nasasra, all those are. You look at Jiramuhezi, the general who fought. The general who fought.
All right.
He has not appointed him.
All right.
Mike Makura, who was actually complaining, who was complaining, and of course in the house they were saying he's responsible for the problems you were raising, because he was the former minister of health. But the truth of the matter, when he was a minister, he failed to solve them. Now he's crying like crocodile tears, shedding crocodile tears in parliament.
All right.
Do you visit all those things to the president?
All right.
For God's sake, inflation, economic crisis. You can appreciate that it is this government that has at least managed in the entire world to at least save their citizens. You go to Greece, they are crying. They can't even afford food. But for us, at least even the ordinary citizens are able to eat. We are moving on. Our economy is still sound.
Go on.
Really, which grounds are you going to?
No,
anyway, there is also a process.
We'll talk about that in a short while. Hon Atiku, do you think you'll get the necessary signatures? 125. You don't have that number in the opposition. And you thought he was going to sign. He said he's not going to sign.
For God's sake, for me, if I get his paper, I will keep it.
And sign up.
You will never see it again. Because you are going to be you are attempting to do the undoable. These crimes you want to charge the president. You must remember that actually he's immune according to the constitution. If you have sufficient evidence on any of them, raise them after has left the power.
As I said, can you clarify that legal bit first of all? The section 107 of the Constitution, what does it say?
107 is very clear. And removal of the president.
Yes.
It will take us time, but I'll
very briefly.
The president may be removed from office in accordance with this article on any of the following grounds. A. Abuse of office or willful violation of the oath of allegiance and the presidential oath.
Okay.
Or any provision of this constitution.
Alright, so it's provided for that. You don't have to go into the details. Let's look at the signatures. Do you think you'll get the number?
The issue of the signatures, as we launch this battle today,
yes,
which I think should not scare Honorable Tinkasiimire. And I'm sure if the president reasons well this document, because we intend to petition him also as a person, that these are the grounds on which we want to impeach you, and if you can take a personal decision and say save this country, he can as well resign. So we expect him in light of.
So you're gathering the signatures.
So you think you can intimidate the president?
So as we launch this,
if you first
we were 9 people at the launch of this battle, and all of us appended our signatures.
Yes.
And we have all agreed to take this document to people like Tinkasiimire and convince them to sign.
Right.
And by the time I was coming here, I'd already convinced about 4 people
to sign. From the NRM.
No, members of parliament, I should say.
Okay.
And this is across political parties. And as I said, it's a process.
You expect them to support you?
We have started it today. We are going to move on, and I'm sure, just as he has been elaborating.
Yes.
The government in Greece collapsed. Why? Because first there was corruption. Secondly, the economy was in shambles. Inflation was up in the skies. Thirdly, unemployment. People's savings were, So that is the kind of situation in which we are as Uganda.
All right.
Recently, you heard what happened. Just within a week, the dollar rates changed, the fuel prices went up.
That's true.
So, unpredictable economic situation that spells doom for any political organization that is at the helm.
However, take us very briefly through the procedure. Supposing you were to have your success,
of course,
how would you do it? What would happen?
Exactly.
Technically,
as soon as we collect the 125 signatures,
yes,
we will write to the speaker to present a motion on the floor of parliament to impeach the president.
Yes.
And I'm how many years will it take you to complete this process?
Let's hear him out.
Can we be ordered?
Go on.
As soon as we do that, we will write to the speaker to give us time on the order paper, present our petition of impeachment of the president with the signatures, because those are the grounds, the supporting issues.
Your motion, yes.
And after that, we will write to the president to ask him, first and foremost, to resign as a person.
After you get the 125
exactly.
Signatures, yes.
And second, because that will automatically.
And if he doesn't do that, what happens?
If he doesn't do that, then we'll move on to to impeach him.
What happens during that impeachment for the uninitiated? Well, it's never happened here. What would happen?
That is going to be something we're going to learn from.
What does the law provide for?
The law
to the House, and what happens?
When we have presented our
petition,
petition,
125 signatures, he has refused
automatically. That now becomes an issue for the August House, Parliament.
Yes.
To write to the President that people have lost, trust in you.
Yes.
And therefore you cease to be our President. It's as simple as that.
And there's no precedent. It's not happened anywhere.
It's not happened, but if it happens that way, if the Speaker takes the pen and writes that yes, we have all grounds to say we have no President, that will be the time now Uganda will decide.
So on the floor of the Parliament, this can...
Of course, Uganda decided that they should renew the lease of President Museveni for 5 extra years.
Let us get the technical.
I think you could only wait. It would be prudent.
Okay.
My advice.
When people are going, let's hear the technical side. So technically, on the floor of Parliament, according to the Constitution, it can be settled on the floor in 1 hour.
Yes, it can be settled on the floor. And if we don't satisfy, of course, we will be updating the public on a weekly basis on our progress.
All right.
If we don't get the 125 signatures,
yes,
automatically this motion will not go on the floor of Parliament.
All right. Well,
the other thing
that we show on our side that we have failed to garner the required support.
This man wants to say to the President, but is not even aware of the process.
What?
That he is going to submit his petition to the Chief Justice, who is going to look into this matter and see whether the grounds are clear. This is Ugandan. Honorable.
Can I just tell me one
Which constitution are you reading?
The way we do things,
Okay, let's hear from the listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. MPs institute impeachment proceedings against the President. How serious are these legislators? And what reasons do they give? You can call in now. Our numbers 0414 348 111. 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Spectrum, hello? Hello? Yes?
Yes, Edmond.
Yes, your name?
How are you?
Very well, thanks. Your name?
No, my name is Ronald.
Yes.
I'm calling from Kansanga. Hon Bernard Atiku and his group are sounding more like comedians. And in fact, like Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire has indicated, Hon Bernard Atiku is not even aware of the grounds of the process, of impeaching the president. They have to submit the petition to the Speaker of Parliament, send a copy to the President, and also go to submit to the Chief Justice, who takes 7 days. Then after, we're supposed to revert and set up a committee of 3 Supreme Court justices who are supposed then to set up a tribunal and then invite the President, who is supposed to come with a lawyer or another person who he nominates to stand by him as he gives his defense. Then afterwards, it will be taken back to Parliament, and Parliament can then pass a resolution, and that's how the impeachment process takes place. But Hon Bernard Atiku has not even read the process of impeaching a president, and he's championing it. That's my submission. Thank you.
Spectrum, hello?
And you remember his leader.
Hello? Let's hear from the listeners. Spectrum, hello? Yes, sir, your name?
My name is Richard.
Yes, Richard.
Hello?
Richard, you're live on Spectrum.
I'm calling from SETA. I just want to tell those honorable members who are thinking of impeaching the president that they're actually daydreaming. Certain things cannot happen in the Republic of Uganda. What they should take in consideration is that it's our NRM government that restored rule of law. We are better armed, and we know that our members of government shall take them on when they bring the motion to the floor of Parliament. But even what I think is that even some sober members of the opposition may not sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spectrum, hello?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, your name?
I'm AM as usual. Thank you for hosting the MPs. Mine is I'm going to support Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire on the issue, particularly the leaders, when they lose or they are being fired, particularly from our region here, the Uganda region, they start employing the issue of tribe. But when they are in the system, they don't talk about it. And I want to agree with our brothers from the West. you deserve anything as long as you are being appointed by the president. But if business ever they have some grievances, they say Westerners are in the army. You know, from the north, you know what happened? Our brothers in the north did support the President Museveni in the struggle. They were fighting the NRM with the UNLF. So that's the situation, how the generals arrived. But this one, I don't want to say that other people should not come on board. They should come, but this business of saying this have a nyanko, this have a chief, that we don't want it.
Spectrum, hello?
Hello, how are you?
Very well, your name?
Yeah, William.
William, can you switch off your radio, walk away from it?
Okay. My contribution is this. I've been observing the previous speakers. The way the world has changed today, everything is possible. The impeachment is possible as long as the grounds are very clear. Ugandans are now educated, and they also follow the world. What is happening in other worlds? And the idea of saying that even the opposition cannot even say a sign and stuff, that's all. It's a primitive idea, because we don't need to go to the bush to change this government. As long as we have liberal, educated, young parliamentarians that we have today, and they have a very clear sound mind, everything is possible. So it would be hoodwinking the Ugandans saying that, oh, Ugandans cannot impeach the president.
Spectrum, hello. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Okay, I've lost you. Spectrum, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, your name?
This is Patrick Aroma.
Patrick, yes?
The UPC leader, youth leader.
Can you switch off your radio, Patrick?
Yes. Now, hello?
Yes, go on.
The reasons for impeaching the president do exist, those grounds. However, the challenge comes in the modality. I believe Honorable Atiku and his colleagues need to sort out the modalities of embarking on this impeachment action. Because with the political environment and the constraints under which we are operating, it may be a little bit difficult. However, let them try, because the violation of the 1995 Constitution is in the open.
All right, Spectrum, hello.
Hello?
Yes, please switch off your radio. Good evening, your name?
My name is Yoweri.
Yes, please.
Yeah, first of all, Uganda is a democratic country. But I think members of parliament, especially my brother there, and I think he has gone overboard. Because when you talk about impeaching the president, some of the problems that the president is facing today are generated by the members of parliament, those who actually sabotage him. For example, now, these people have given themselves 103 million, which they are not talking about. And that money, if actually you transform it into something that can create jobs, it's talking about lack of jobs. But if you, a member of your parliament, you are conscious, does it tell you that you are entitled for 103 million shillings?
All right. Spectrum, hello. Hello. Let's take 3 more callers. Spectrum, hello.
Edmond.
Yes, your name?
Good evening.
Good evening, your name?
Now, I've listened very carefully to your guests in the studio. I want to thank Hon Bernard Atiku for the effort.
Your name?
Jim is the name. I'm calling from Bunga.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to dismiss personalities, but Tinkasiimire has prudential problems at Islamic University. Therefore, I don't want to believe his word. 2, any sensible Ugandan who has been to school, like you, Edmond, knows that there is proper ground for this regime to go and for that man to go after 26 years. Have you read his book, Africa's Problem? Now, the Tinkasiimires of this world are lucky because they represent peasants. God bless the peasants.
Spectrum, hello. Okay. Let's get back to the studios. Honorable Atiku.
I think a lot has been referred to me. I want to begin by allaying fears of Honorable Tinkasiimire that before we raise this issue, I read through the Constitution. Article 107, if we exhaust it, under subsection 7, it clearly stipulates how a board of doctors, medical officers, should be set to examine the president. The judicial, the judges should be put in place to look through the petitions.
But you have not raised it as a ground.
I don't have to. We have not talk about your grounds. Can we be civilized?
Go on.
I want us, when we reach there, that's when we shall begin walking the talk. The process of impeachment. After collecting the signatures, where do we head? What happens when we write to the speaker? What happens when the speaker calls? It's actually not us, it's the speaker to submit, to copy some of our impeachment submissions to the judiciary, and then to set up the board. All these have to be examined by technical people to find whether there's a ground for impeachment. And once that is done, we get a green light to move on with our motion. So I want to thank the callers out there that yes, we perceive things differently, and I think I went to school, I exhausted my academic life to earn a bachelor's degree, which can enable me to interpret the Constitution very well. And I was not a fool. Before I attended my signature, I read the grounds. Really, the issues which we're talking about are not issues that we just have to admit. Like Honorable Tinkasiimire says, 169 billion is just change pocket money for the Governor Bank of Uganda. No, the Constitution stipulates how Bank of Uganda manages our resources. Those are not his personal resources. It is our money, taxpayers' money. When you see people striving down here, carrying things on their head, that money translates into what they pay in terms of taxes. When they buy soap, sugar, whatever, fuel, they pay taxes. And these taxes must translate in terms of improving their livelihood. When they go to hospitals, they must get the drugs. When, it kind of sounds laughable when Honorable Mukula stands up to say, in Soroti, which is a regional hospital, women lie on the ground, on the floor.
Right.
And Honorable Tinkasiimire laughs at it and says, it is his problem, he was there as a minister, why didn't he change? No! Ministers are put there to ensure things run well, if the resources are not there. My brother is saying that MPs awarded themselves 103 million, forgetting that the president alone, without seeking parliamentary approval, spent 1.7 trillion on jets. That money was withdrawn from the Central Bank. And that has had an effect on inflation in this country. When we see Uganda currency now becoming like toilet paper, who has caused this? These are the questions we're asking. Who never saw money changing hands like nothing in this country during the time of elections?
That money was never spent here.
Come on.
It was spent.
When we remove money from the treasury, what does it mean? Doesn't it cause a shortfall?
It just means there is too much money in circulation.
I mean,
you should, really, for God's sake.
That money, yes, was removed in form of dollars, but it created a gap.
Those are simple things.
Balance of what?
My good
balance the exchange rate.
Balance the exchange rate.
All right.
If you don't balance it, it causes inflation. That's what has happened.
Okay, I want to.
Are you convinced? Maybe you are going to sign now.
I can never sign such a ridiculous document. First of all, I have described them, and I am totally convinced that these are political comedians. Maybe from the perspective of opposition, I will call it an engagement, and we are ready for that show. But on a serious note, I will agree with Ronald, Richard, and Owere, and
Jimmy from Bonga.
I will agree with them and say that it is not possible currently to say that you are going to remove the president. Try your luck, but I am also assuring you that this president has been here for the last 26 years.
Yes.
Even rebellions the ADF, Ukonyi, and so many others have attempted to remove him with a force. He has gone through elections from 96, 2001, 2006, to 2011, and he has won them with overwhelming majority. Then you come here and say everything is possible. It can only be possible before God, but not in the political arena. We are in charge, and we are not ready to let our president go.
The history books will get us.
The history books will do what?
Will get us correct.
All right, well, we have to go. Thank you very much indeed, dear guest. Hon Barnabas Tinkasiimire from Buyaga West, member of the party of the NRM. Thank you for coming to Spectrum. Hon Bernard Atiku, member of parliament for Ayivu County in the West Nile, also a member of the impeachment group. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond Kizito. Spectrum will return tomorrow up next with the news in English. Do stay tuned.
I think we